What makes you the man you are?
All the imbalances that I've gone through. But mine was not a panic. It was a tsunami. It just came and completely finished me.
We have the choice to victimize ourselves and be helpless or work towards becoming a victor.
Yeah.
Healing happens when you marry the spiritual and the rational.
आपको 100% परफेक्शन कहीं से मिल नहीं सकता, बिकॉज 100% परफेक्ट अगर आप हो जाएंगे तो आप भगवान हो जाएंगे. विदाउट killing anybody, without slapping anybody, without kicking anybody, I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just pleasing myself. To your soul also there is a responsibility.
One story, one downfall, one epic comeback. This is not a podcast. This is an uncancellation ritual because we don't believe in cancellations. Welcome to Cancelled to Crowned with Sohini. In today's episode, we have the dynamic Sudhanshu Pandey, who shares with us his powerful journey of faith, healing, and inner strength. Thank you so much for coming on Cancelled to Crown with Sohini.
Thank
I'm
you so
so
much,
looking forward to having an amazing
Likewise.
conversation with you.
Likewise, absolutely. Thank you.
You embody this beautiful, grounded, you're strong and vulnerable. And everybody perceives you as so strong. But I see you as a very grounded man, very balanced. What makes you the man you are?
All the imbalances that I've gone through throughout my life. I think there are two angles to this. One, obviously, there is, I think, spiritual. Uh, the spiritual aspect of this whole thing is, I would say, I don't know how much Hindi you understand, but प्रारब्ध एक चीज होती है जिसको हम जो आपके कार्मिक साइकिल का हिस्सा है. तो ये प्रारब्ध भी होता है कि आपके विचार कैसे हैं. विचार एज इन योर थॉट्स
Prarabh, this?
इज योर मतलब वो आपके कार्मिक जो एक अकाउंट होता है उसका हिस्सा है कि
Okay,
जो
so that's
प्रारब्ध
a
यानी
part of
वो
your.
आपका वो आपके कर्मों के हिसाब से चल रही हैं चीजें.
It's your karmic account.
अकाउंट.
Okay.
ओके. सो ये प्रारब्ध है शायद कि मेरे विचार जैसे हैं वैसे हैं. ओके. बट ऑल्सो आई फील व्हेन लाइफ टीचेस यू समथिंग and you learn from it. Again, you have two choices. Either you completely ignore it or you learn from it. But then life teaches you certain lessons which have the ability to completely demolish you, completely crush you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And you take that demolition, that crushing. It could be long, it could be for years for you to go through. But if you really go through it and you come out of it, you'll be stronger than you can ever imagine.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So I think I have in life gone through so much of uh, pain, whether it is mental, physical, the pain of the uncertain times, um, the uncertainty of the future, all those things that pull you down. You know, all those things that life throws at you that can pull you down. As long as you are holding on to a hope, how much ever the life pulls you down, it is only pulling you down to push you back up, as long as you are holding on to hope. So I personally feel that whatever I've gone through in my life, every up and down, every pain, every torture, every humiliation, everything during the course of my career and my experience with people in life in general, or my friends or my professional people who I knew, everything that happened with me has made me the man I am today. So the Sudhanshu Pandey that you see today is a result of that fire that I've gone through, if I were to put it in one word.
Like a redevelopment when you hit
Yeah,
rock bottom.
it's a redevelopment, it's restructuring, it is, and it happens only because your foundation has been strong. So even when you break down, uh, on that strong foundation, you can rebuild again. So the foundation has to be very strong, which I feel I always had. I think that was my karma, that was my prarabdha. And I think my belief, in Shiv or the Mahakal that I'm surrendered to is my foundation.
It's mine too, Shivji.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So did he anchor you through these transformative phases of your life?
Absolutely. He's so when I say surrender, it's, I mean, I do pray to him whenever I can, but my surrender is that I'm sitting in his feet. That is my surrender. So every problem of mine is also there only.
It's his.
It's his. So whatever has to be done, he has to do it for me. You know, if it's a difficult time, tough time, any time, it's all his. So that is the surrender I've got. It does take away a lot of my worries, you know. It does take away a lot of my stress. If I'm getting very stressed, sometimes unknowingly, I instinctively remember that here I am, you know,
Yeah.
this is where I am, he's around me. So everything will
Yeah.
settle down.
So there is so much strength in submitting to God or your faith, right?
That is the only way you can become strong. Is surrendering to someone where you have come from and where you will go. That is where we're all going to end up eventually, right? The physical form will end up there only. So might as well surrender to him while you are still here in the physical form, because that is the only way you can deal with all the fears of your life. You can fight with all the fears. You can fight all your battles and all of that if you believe that he's there, or if you believe that that's what you are.
Yes. Yes. So you're saying that hope anchored you when you hit rock bottom and faith anchored your hope.
Absolutely.
How beautiful.
See, I've so one of the worst periods that I went through was during 2007 to 2011, 4 years of my life. When in 2007, I had suffered a panic attack, a very severe one, and I didn't know what hit me. And for 4 years, I was in a depressive state. Okay, and depression is something people don't talk about, especially a man. It is very difficult for a man to say that I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Know,
Or I'm
because
panicking.
but mine was not a panic. It was a tsunami. It just came and completely finished me in a matter of few seconds.
How did it manifest in your body?
I have no idea. It had to happen, you know. It had to happen. I don't know what kind of stress I must be going through. What was it that triggered the panic attack in me? And within a few seconds, I was in the deepest, darkest place within a matter of few seconds. Deepest, darkest. I felt isolated. I was like floating in the dark and I could see the planet Earth around me. There was complete disconnect. I had no idea.
How scary is that?
It's scary is a very, I would say it's a very light term to use for it. But I think it's like you have ended, right? It's like everything has ended. It doesn't exist. Nothing exists anymore. It's that feeling. But somewhere, like I said, um, it's everything is a part of your karmic cycle. So I in spite of that state, there was something telling me this is not the end, or this is not where everything ends.
What was that something that told you that?
It was my conscience, I think. Somewhere from inside, it was speaking to me. And conscience is God, right? We're a, हर आत्मा फाइनली परमात्मा में ही जाके मिलती ना, परमात्मा में ही जाती ना, वही परमात्मा है.
So there is connection even in that disconnect.
Yeah, that is uh, what I think keeps you going.
Yeah.
And that connection that I had, that sound, that voice that came from inside, through those 4 years became louder and louder and louder, and everything else started
How
subsiding.
beautiful. Yeah, that's because you stayed, right? We have the choice to victimize ourselves and be helpless, or work towards becoming a victor. Staying connected to our roots, just hanging on, hanging on,
I
hanging on.
think not losing hope is a very important thing. It's very important. Because in whatever state you are, if you give up, you give up. But if you realize that जो हमारी सृष्टि का एक नियम है वो ये है कि कोई भी चीज कभी एक सी नहीं रह सकती है, उस चीज को समझना बहुत जरूरी है. If it's night, if the night falls, it'll stay. It'll stay for 8 hours, 10 hours. It may feel like it is the end of the world, very long night, but it is still going to finish and get over,
Yes.
and the sun will rise,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, you have to just know it's a matter of time. So you have to hold on to it. Go through it. Because going through that pain will make you better, will make you stronger, will make you wiser. So take that as a learning process. For me, I think when I look back at it, I think I shot an entire movie in that condition. I shot Sing is King, which was a comedy film.
Yes, yes. It's such a sweet movie.
Yeah,
I
and
love
I shot those 2 months in Australia all by myself. I was alone. I mean, not with the family or anything. But I was shooting there, and I was 2 months. I was under terrible. I was in terrible anxiety and depression, and a very nervous state of being. And that inherent darkness and sadness in your mind is there. But I shot a comedy film during that time. Well, that's the comedy of life, Can you imagine?
But that's
So-
commendable.
Yeah, and you see the film, even in one single frame, if you can say that I was going through that pain,
No.
I will change my name.
No, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Not for a second. I'm
Not for a
shocked.
second, nobody can say it.
No.
So, what kept me going was my hope and my faith in the Almighty, and the belief that it's not going to be forever. It will get over.
It has to.
It has to get over.
Yeah.
Because that is nature, and you can't get away from nature,
Yeah.
right? Which is why they say that if you're successful, if you're having a great day, you should always be prepared that this is also going to go. So you should be ready. You should never attach yourself so much with anything. In terms of the time, I mean, obviously you're attached to the family and
Of
loved
course,
ones.
of course.
But with the times that you're going through, you should always know कि आज ऐसा है तो कल थोड़ा different भी हो सकता है, अलग भी हो सकता है. And in 4 years, it's my faith that got me out of it. I never took any medication, no tablets, nothing. In spite of the most terrible thoughts that come to your head, most terrible thoughts, as terrible as you can imagine.
How did you not allow those thoughts to take over you?
By just telling myself that this is just my mind playing havoc on me.
So you were able to
It's not real.
disconnect from the thoughts and watch them pass.
Yeah.
Do you know how much effort, consistent, mindful effort it takes to not allow such terrible, intrusive thoughts to take over you.
Every breathing second is an
Yeah,
effort.
absolutely. That's how mindful you need to be.
Yeah, very mindful. Very, very
Wow.
mindful. So I managed, and I still consider myself very lucky to have gone through it, because those 4 years were the best time of my life, because I connected with myself. I connected with my conscience. I spoke to it. There were constant conversation with myself, which in a normal scenario you wouldn't, because you're so engrossed in everything around you, your circumstances, the social life and everything. There are so many layers on your conscience that you are never in touch with it.
Yeah.
You're only sucked into आज जिसके यहाँ जाना है उसके साथ बैठना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, so you don't even know that there's a conscience that exists.
And your tender soul sits inside all those layers. Yeah. And it actually has the brightest light with it.
Yeah.
We just have to get there. How did you feel every morning that you woke up and you had to show up to set and perform when this depression had taken
At
over?
that time, I think I was always in a hurry to go and be with people.
You couldn't be alone.
Because when you were alone, I think it was natural for the anxiety to kick in. The anxiety kicked in every time I even had a thought that abhi mujhe kamre mein wapas jana hai akele. So that anxiety would kick in. But yeah, so I think I feel that that's why I'm very vocal about mental health, is that if you're going through it, it's very important that you are not alone. You spend time with people, your loved ones, or whoever you feel comfortable, but talk.
Yeah.
Talking is very important. You talk and you feel better. You talk and you feel better. It's like a balloon filled tightly with a gas, okay? And you keep puncturing it with the needles one by one. And slowly it starts to come down. So that talking is like those punctures that will settle you down.
Save you from bursting.
Save you from bursting and also settle you down.
So the panic attack that hit you in 2007, right? Do you think that was a burst? Because whatever you were going
Yeah,
through.
like I said, I don't know what kind of stress I was going through. That filled up in my
was
head
just
so much, and
burst.
it just,
And it took 4 years.
yeah, it took
So
4 years for
it's
me to
so
come out.
important to be so connected to the self that you release
Yeah.
parts of your pain and confusion.
It's a management. You have to really manage it.
Yes,
You have to really-
emotional management.
Yeah.
Management is everything.
Is everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
How beautiful.
That's what creates the balance.
Yeah. So you're saying that, are you saying that the work that you were doing during that difficult phase played a role in anchoring you as well? Your movie, Sing is King, did it anchor you?
I would say that it helps, and it did help being with people, Also, I had Ranveer Shori, if you know Ranveer. Ranveer is a very old friend of mine, but Ranveer had gone through the same thing many years ago before that, when he was with Channel V. He had to be hospitalized and all of that. So, when I spoke to him, it was like talking about myself. And that really helped me also in believing that there is somebody else also just like me. So it's not me alone. And then he was carrying one tablet. He said, you keep this. This is SOS. In case you can't control it ever, you take this. You'll feel better. So that really helped, because just by knowing that there is somebody on my side, made a lot of a world of difference to me.
It's so beautiful that life will never ever leave you unprotected.
No, it never lets you
We
down, actually.
just have to be open. What you were going through, you had someone who was exactly going through that with you
Yeah.
through the process.
Yeah.
We just have to believe and allow, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Belief, I think belief is the most important aspect of our existence. Belief is something that'll uh, that'll never let you down. It has to be belief. There is nothing else. Belief will give you hope. Belief will give you positivity. Belief will give you people. Belief will get you the right people in your life. It's just the belief that does everything in your life. The belief is very important.
What is a belief that you learned as a child that you had to unlearn as you evolved?
I don't think there's anything that was taught to me first. I personally feel that a child becomes the atmosphere that he lives in
Yes.
or he grows up in.
Yes.
You can never teach anything. If you want the child to grow up into a great man or a woman, you need to give them that atmosphere.
You have to be that.
The surroundings that you're going to provide to the child is what is going to make the child what you want him to become
Yeah.
or her to become. आप अगर किसी बच्चे को जाके बोलो कि यार तुझे बहुत अच्छा आदमी बनना है, ओके, बहुत अच्छा आदमी बनना है, वो जिंदगी में कभी अच्छा आदमी नहीं बन सकता.
Yeah.
तो आपको बिकॉज ह्यूमन टेंडेंसीज, आप अभी किसी को कुछ भी बोलेंगे ना तो उसका ऑपोजिट थॉट आता है इमीडिएटली दिमाग में.
Mm.
अगर मैं आपको पहले सबसे पहले ये बोल दूं कि यार आप बहुत अच्छी लग रही हैं, आपको पहले लगेगा यार ये सही बोल रहा है,
मुझे नहीं लगता ऐसे.
या
I'm
किसी
very
पर्पस
happy.
से बोल रहा है. सो देयर इज दैट्स ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी.
Yeah.
There'll always be an opposite thought
Usually.
when somebody tells you something.
Yeah.
Right? It takes you time to believe. So instead of trying to tell children to do something or teach them something, give them the atmosphere. Give them the surroundings and circumstances that will create them into good human beings, right? तो मेरे साथ by default ऐसा था कि my father's family and everybody, all very simple people,
That's the prarabdh part of you that you were talking about.
That is why I said this in the beginning. That it's where it comes from, right? I'm on a journey.
Yeah.
Maybe on a journey that makes me whatever I am today.
Yeah, there's something larger than this.
Yeah.
Than even the parents, than the beliefs we are taught, schools, teachers, people. It's that largeness that we need to tap into.
Yeah.
And give access to. It's waiting.
Yeah, just
Give
be
me
open.
access.
Yeah,
Yes.
just be open. I think that is very important.
Yeah.
People who have read too much are very closed people, I feel. People who call knowledge or knowledgeable people the ones who've read too much and read a lot, obviously it's a lot of,
Yeah.
but I call it information. I don't call it knowledge. Knowledge comes from within.
Yeah. From
Uh,
wisdom.
The wisdom.
Yeah.
That is what knowledge is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I always give an example because that's how I think it is to be that Mahatma Buddha, because he's probably one of the last we remember, वैसे उनको विष्णु का लास्ट अवतार माना जाता है, आखिरी अवतार
Yes,
माना जाता
I believe so.
है. तो महात्मा बुद्ध जब बोधि ट्री के नीचे बैठे थे बोध गया में, तो वो किताब नहीं पढ़ रहे थे. किताब पढ़ के महात्मा बुद्ध नहीं पढ़े.
Wow, look at that. It's right in front of our eyes.
आंखें बंद करके ध्यान लगा के बैठे थे ना, उन्होंने साधना की.
Yeah.
तभी तो वो महात्मा बुद्ध हुए.
Yeah.
और
Yes.
उनकी बातें आज हम लोग सुनते हैं, right?
And we're reading that.
And we are reading about
When
that.
he is exemplary of look within.
So that is knowledge for me. Not the people who've read too much and they believe in what they read.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
I believe, I talk about it in my book as well. I believe that healing happens when you marry the spiritual and the rational. There has to be a marriage of Gyan and Dhyan. It can't just be Gyan or just be Dhyan. Though fir bhi Dhyan plays
Dhyan,
a-
I think
yeah.
Dhyan जिसे आजकल मेडिटेशन बोलते हैं, is very misunderstood concept.
Yeah.
मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं अभी भी ध्यान में हूँ.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's because you're in this moment fully.
Yeah.
That's dhyan, right?
And also I'm in touch with my conscience every given second,
Yeah.
you know?
Breath to breath, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me it is, and I'm still human. I'm open to making mistakes because we are human, right? And but it is your intention that matters. Is your intention to create ruckus, to create negativity, to say negative, to think negative? No. If your intention is that you want to only do good, if your intention is not to hurt anyone, if your intention is only to make other people smile or make other people laugh, if your intention is to just spread love and positivity, then it's good intention. Now, in that process, there might be somebody who gets upset with you.
The most likely will be.
Yeah. So it's okay. It doesn't matter. Because कभी भी आपको 100% परफेक्शन कहीं से मिल नहीं सकता. बिकॉज 100% परफेक्ट अगर आप हो जाएंगे तो आप भगवान हो जाएंगे. और हम लोग भगवान नहीं हैं, हम इंसान हैं. हमारा जो प्रारब्ध है वो हमारे कर्म है. तो हमको कर्म अच्छे करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए. बिकॉज आप 100% परफेक्ट बन ही नहीं सकते. हम कार्मिक साइकिल का हिस्सा हैं. गॉड हैज क्रिएटेड ह्यूमन बीइंग्स एंड गिवन देम 2 चॉइसेस, राइट एंड रॉन्ग. You decide, and that will decide your karma, right? So you'll always have 2 choices, right and wrong. आप क्या करना चाहते हो? उसमें भी बहुत सारे aspects होते हैं. Whether you want to do for yourself, sometimes it is very important to do things for yourself also, to make yourself or to feel good, to be happy, to feel like you are living, to feel like, yes, if there's something missing in your life, you want to fulfill that, you do something to fulfill that. It's your right to do that because it gives your soul happiness.
Yes.
Right? It could be wrong for 10 other people, but for me, it is giving happiness to my soul because I'm doing it for myself without killing anybody, without slapping anybody, without kicking anybody. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just pleasing myself. To your soul also, there is a responsibility.
That is the primary responsibility to your soul.
Yeah.
And your soul is what emits the light and emits the love. It gives. And it can only give if it has.
Yeah. And it shows on your face and your eyes.
Yeah.
The moment your soul is revealed, it will show in your eyes and on your face. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Yes.
It's not just a saying.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah, that's why you meet some people and you just go back feeling itna acha laga.
Yeah.
Even if there's this man who sells in one small shop opposite my home, and I'll end up going there to buy some stuff sometimes. I've never spoken too much to him. But the moment I leave, I just feel so good. And he's an old man. But he emits this beautiful grace
Energy.
and warmth and energy about him.
That's his probably because maybe he's such a beautiful person from inside. His aura, the energy that is exuding from your.
Yeah.
When you come in touch with that, or when you come in contact with that energy, it'll detox you a little bit every time you meet
It
him.
most definitely. I mean, he detoxes me so beautifully. I can't even tell you. Sometimes I tell myself, I'll go. देख भाभी आप क्यों जा रहे हो दिन भर काम किया है I'm like no I want to go I need to go there's something so beautiful about him it's the eyes
It's the
the
eyes.
soul
Yeah.
how lovely you left Band of Boys when it was at its peak I'm sure you've been asked this before
Yeah.
but I want to know what was your rock bottom moment that made you make that decision?
So it was not a rock bottom moment. It was a very practical decision for me. Because I already had a family. My first son was already born, a little baby at home. And then uh, not being able to make the kind of money I was making before I joined the band. Because I was already an actor, a very, I had been a very, very, one of the top models in the country. So all that, and then suddenly out of whim, I went into the band and let's do something, different. And I spent 3 years with the band. We were the biggest rage in the country
I remember that.
and even internationally.
Yes.
And we were young, yeah, early 20s or whatever, mid 20s. And uh, in spite of all that, in spite of all the rage, the popularity, the fame, the madness for the band, the number of shows that we were doing, I was not able to make enough money because 30% to the manager and then split into five. So the money that would come was not good enough. And then at some point in time, I think my wife kicked my ass.
We'll talk about her. But was it heartbreaking for you to leave?
Yeah, it was. It was quite heartbreaking, but I had to take that decision at that moment. So I got absorbed in work after that. And then I continued, doing things.
I'm just trying to connect the dots here. You said that leaving Band of Boys was very heartbreaking for you.
It was because I was so involved in that whole process of m- being in the band or getting into the band and then preparing for about a year and a half, you know, dancing, this, that, and, um, rehearsing our songs. And we would spend almost 15, 16 hours every day together. And then starting out on the journey, then the album becoming a hit, and then traveling all across the world. And then we also made a film together. And so much had happened within those 3.5 years that to suddenly break away from that, it was
So it
obviously.
was not financially fulfilling, it was emotionally fulfilling for you.
Of course.
That's why you had to take a practical decision to quit. Do you think somewhere, and then Yakeen happened, which also didn't work. Do you feel that your 2007 tsunami, emotional tsunami, could have been related to Band of Boys?
Not Band of Boys. Not Band of Boys, but there were others. I think when I go back to that time, I'd bought my first house in 2005 in Bombay.
You were young in
Yeah.
2005, very young.
And it was a very big house that I bought.
Wow.
And I was doing films left, right, center. I picked up all good, bad, ugly films and shot 3, 4 films in London. That time there was this subsidy thing going on, so I went there, and a lot of things I did during that time. Because घर खरीद लिया था, फिर बनाया था, फिर and then obviously, you pick up loans, and then there is always that stress, and there's so much happening, so you never know what triggers what, and sometimes, you think that maybe it was the house that didn't suit me, the energies didn't suit me,
Possible.
uh, so there could be so many reasons you can't figure out. Ultimately, what happens to you is something that you need to accept and say, whatever the reason is, I'm supposed to go through this. I will go through this. I will very, very wisely go through this, very patiently go through this, because God is with me. And He will, if He's put me through this, He will also get me out of this.
Yeah.
And that's what my belief was throughout.
Yeah.
Throughout.
That's the only thing I hold on to. For me, I'm like this. If I am going through something, God will start panicking. He'll say, "ये आ जाएगी अभी, पकड़ लेगी मुझे." She's not going to leave me and I'm going to be stuck. Even if I try walking, she'll be holding my leg and she'll drag herself on the floor. So that's my biggest anchor. I just go straight to God 24/7, you know. So, and then of course I do journaling and all of that. But the only way to open my mind up to the process of healing and emotional regulation and then understanding kya hua, kyun hua, I have to first go to God, sit at his feet, hold his ankles, and say, Abhi karo. Open up my mind, help me, give me strength. And I find that if I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be or how I would have
Same
dealt
here.
through my
Same here.
life.
I don't know if I think today that suddenly there is no Mahakal in my life. I don't know what will happen to me.
Same.
I don't know where I will go or who to go to in my life. That will be the end of everything.
That's why I marked it
Yeah.
on my
So-
hand that I don't want to ever forget. I don't want to ever forget that he's there. I don't want to ever forget that I have survived through some very turbulent times just because I've held on to him, or rather, he's held on to me. And every time I slip, I look at my hand and I'm like, "How? I'm good."
Yeah. I mean that is like surrendering to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You are surrendered. So
And
you
there's so
know.
much power in that, right?
Yeah. That is
Mm.
where everything comes from. Everything comes from surrender. It's not an easy job. Surrender may sound very easy, but it's not. It's not. It's the most difficult thing to surrender. It takes away a lot of difficulties from your life.
Yeah.
Difficulty of making a decision, taking a decision, or deciding on something, or thinking in some direction and be sure or being sure about something.
Yeah.
It comes from surrender.
Absolutely. But as you learn to surrender and you develop the habit of being able to surrender, it gets easier.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
No, see, surrender is something that I don't know. It has to come from within. I think either you reach a point in your life where आपको ये लगता है कि यार अब मेरे में ताकत नहीं है.
हाँ. That's the point.
बस अब जो है आप ही देखना.
जो करना है कर लो.
कर लो.
I'm done.
मैं आपके चरणों में हूँ. बस खत्म.
Yeah.
So then from there suddenly there is a surge of a different level of strength.
Oh,
that
it's
you will
so
feel.
beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it comes at rock bottom.
It comes at rock bottom. Always.
Yeah. Rock bottom is a shortcut to expansion. It's a shortcut to growth.
It's when you're at rock bottom, the only way is up. Always
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. How lovely. You've played so many roles, some good, some bad. That's not the term I'm going to use for you.
Some very ugly also.
Some good, some bad.
I want to be honest.
How
Yeah.
did you feel emotionally? Did some of them heal you? And did some of them unleash pain and trauma?
A few of them, I would say. Because unfortunately, हमारे यहाँ content writing is not very profound, mostly. Very superficial and very... So the characters that are written are mostly not as profound as they can be, But there are some characters that I've played have been very, very profound and very challenging, I would say. And I would say that an actor is always as good as their last project or whatever, your last product. My last product was Anupama, the show on Star Plus. And I played, because I played that for 4 years, I can tell you that I went through everything during those 4 years of playing Van Raj as the character. I've gone through a lot of pain, physical pain, because of the stress that happened to me
Yeah.
in playing that character in so many different ways. Because it was not an easy character to portray, because it was a grey character. It was not author backed at all. It was like a free playground. I was just told कि ये ऐसा ऐसा है. That's it.
That's tough.
Yeah, because like for instance, the Anupama character is a very author-backed character. उसमें आपको ये लिख के दे दिया गया कि आपको यही आप यही हैं. You are perfect in whatever you do. आप जो करेंगे वो सही होगा. Everything will be कि अरे अनुपमा ऐसी है, अनुपमा वैसी है, अनुपमा ये है, अनुपमा. वनराज कैसा नहीं था. Vanraj was a very um, complicated character. Very complex emotions because that's how we are in real life.
Yeah.
Right? We all have very complex emotions. It's how you deal with them. Sometimes um, and mostly every human reacts to the circumstances. It doesn't define them, but they react to the circumstances around them or the situations that they're in. You know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily define them. So, Vanraj's definition for me was he was a great guy. He was somebody who loved his parents, loved his family, his kids. He would do anything for them. He would uh, kill for them if need be. He wanted to take care of everybody. But at the same time, he didn't want the wife to go out and work because he thought that he's enough. He will do it. He doesn't need to do. He wanted the wife to be with the parents, take care of them, take care of the kids and everything, which is like most of the men earlier used to think, or even in small towns and middle class families, men would think like that. So he would get angry in certain situations. He felt disrespected in a lot of ways, sometimes, and he would get angry. So, and then obviously on a personal level, he was going through this whole thing of being married to a woman he was never in love with. He loved her, but he was never in love with her. He was in love with somebody else who was his office colleague. And then he had had a history um, that he was in love with somebody in the college, madly in love, who he wanted to marry. That girl dished him for somebody very rich in the US.
So he
she
had
left him.
grief as well.
So he went through a lot of grief and pain. And then he went to his father and said that, Bapuji, aap jisse kahenge main shaadi kar lunga. So Bapuji got a nice lower middle class girl for the family, got married. So obviously he learned to love her as a part of the family and everything, as the mother of his kids and everything, but he was never in love with her. There's a difference, right?
That's it's very unfulfilling.
It's a very unfulfilling.
It's a void.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
void,
Yes.
always. So which is why जब वो void fill होता है तो आदमी पागल हो जाता है. पागल as in madly in love with somebody else who filled that void in every which way that was fitting in his scheme of things. And so all those complex emotions and being able to, not being able to deal with situations sometimes, and then, giving time to that woman, then giving time at home, and then being responsible for the parents and the kids and taking care of so much of problems that the kids are going through, the dynamics of the relationship. So he was he was in a web, always. And also being accused for being male chauvinist, and he was being accused of so many things. So he had to deal with so much more because he was not a perfect guy,
Yeah.
So he was just a human.
And he was carrying so much.
He was carrying so much
and
more than
you were carrying so much while you were playing that.
yeah. So there's a lot that I went through. I mean, I used to have aches and pains. I used to have painkillers a lot of times,
Oh God.
trying to deal with those emotions. And yeah, so I think
And you did that for 4 years.
4 years.
And when you got done with it, did you feel a sense of freedom?
Yes, tremendous sense of freedom, tremendous.
Is it because you got free from Vanraj or free from the 4-year bondage of doing a show?
No, free from Vanraj.
Wow, I mean, when you're performing, you really have to become one with that person, one with the writer's projection. So someone has created this mold for you, and you have to shape shift into it and stay in that mold.
Yeah, and do a lot more than that, actually. So much more. So much more.
Emotionally, physically, intellectually.
Yeah, so much more that, when people see it, they should be able to cry with you.
Yeah.
They should be able to laugh with you. They should be able to feel your pain.
And you can only do that if you become that.
If you become that and you feel it.
Wow. So it's so important to choose your role as an actor, right?
Yeah.
Because it will either heal you or unleash trauma.
It'll also help you grow.
Yeah.
Because every time you take up a new character, you are exploring a different side of human emotion.
Yeah.
You're delving deeper into a human brain and the mind and the feelings. So every time you do that, you're exploring and uncovering and seeing a different side of a human mind also. So you grow as a human being.
You know, as a psychologist, I'm trained to step into the shoes of my client and try and live his experience or her experience to understand them fully so I can help them heal. Sometimes I find that difficult, but now as I speak to you, my job's easier than yours probably because you have to become that.
I have to understand and also be able to express it.
Yeah.
Express it to the audiences,
Yeah. So you have to become it,
You have
right?
to become it.
You may have to become either the opposite of who you are. You may have to become a part of you that triggers you, hurts you. You may have to become someone who may just cause you pain without even having those experiences in your life, like just one added extra trauma.
Yeah, a lot of times. I mean, I would do scenes where I had to, maybe just, when there are tears rolling down, and I don't use glycerine for tears. I do it like real. So whenever, if you see me crying in a scene, those are all real tears. They are not glycerine wala mal. So it would happen so many times that, after doing or finishing that scene, I would have to go and sit in my room or sit somewhere because I would not be able to control that emotion. So I would still be crying for a bit, let it out, and then relax a bit.
So you are very much in touch with your vulnerable side as well. That's there in your strong demeanor.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to admit it.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think that is also one of the strengths that I have.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Do you think it's a strength to be able to be vulnerable?
It is. To be able to hide it is a weakness, I think. But to be able to show it is your strength.
Yeah, you're able to be fully who you are.
Exactly.
And what taught you to own this vulnerability?
Life. Life. I think just accept it the way it is. Because that solves a lot of issues in our life. Acceptance. You have to accept it.
Yeah,
When you resist something, is where all the problems begin.
that is true. That is true.
Resistance of any sort will always manifest into issues and problems and pains and aches.
Yeah.
So you have to start accepting things. That's
Yeah.
what I believe in
Yeah.
completely.
You broke into the film industry when it was star driven without any background of anyone being in the film industry. And that's commendable. Do you have a story to share with us that's close to your heart?
I can tell you what I felt when I was actually, when I started as a model, I was only 19. And for me to have received my first paycheck or a part of it, the amount was 25,000. And this was in 94,
Yeah, that's a lot.
right?
Back then.
It was a huge amount for a 19-year-old guy.
Yes.
A teenager to get that amount, whose father was in a government job, और उनकी salary उतनी नहीं होती थी, because government officials don't get paid so well. I mean, you get all the amenities and everything.
Yeah.
You get houses, you get servants and everything, but
Yeah.
the salaries are very low. Right?
Correct.
And then you realize that, oh my God, 25 grand, and so the only thing that I used to have in my mind during that time was कि मेरे पास पैसा है, मम्मी के लिए ये खरीदना है, पापा के लिए ये खरीदना है,
It is that.
भाई के लिए ये खरीदना है. So that's all that there was, the only wish was to buy things for them.
Yeah.
And
This is that loyalist in you that we
yeah.
spoke about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. So that's where it comes from. I think that's what that's what I remember. Buying a watch for my father when I went to, where did I go? I think I was somewhere in Europe. I got him a watch, and for my mother, I would get things. So it was like that. It was always कि अब मम्मी के लिए पापा के लिए क्या खरीदूं.
Sweet. That is so sweet.
Yeah.
You've had a journey of ups and downs. How did your wife play a role in supporting you through all of this?
By just being there, I think that's what a person can do. Um, as long as your partner doesn't run away in your worst times, I think that's all you need. You know, you don't need so much involvement also, that your partner keeps telling you ye karo, wo karo, wo karo, because that can irritate you.
Correct.
Also, because we're all individuals. We all have our. I think the best support is to just be around someone, right? If you want to support them, and not exactly tell them what to do.
Yeah. Not be active and overbearing.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Not yeah.
I've got you.
That's it.
Come when you
Just
need.
be around.
Yeah.
And so I think that is how it has been.
That's
and
so
it's not
lovely.
like we've not fought or anything. We fight a lot. We fight a lot because that's the only way to live together. You can't not. And two different strong individuals. However wise you are, however evolved you are bound to have conflicts, because that is, again, um, I think most relationships are like that.
Yeah.
Some people tend to break away, because some people, I think, would say that, yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight. I don't want to be a part of this constant. Some people say, chalo, yaar, this is a part of life, and let's just be. So that's the normal way every relationship is, right? You cannot possibly expect two people living in the same house and be the bestest of friends all the time, because that is not possible. It's not possible. And it's unfair to expect that from the other person also. It is. And vice versa. So that is one thing. And I think the support system is not really supporting somebody, it's just being there, being around. That's the best support one can get.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the most beautiful form of support, right? Where you don't want to control.
Yeah.
You're allowing the person to grow, evolve, go through their journey. And in this whole process, I've got you. Yeah. How lovely. It's so nice to share that, because I'm sure a lot of couples out there are struggling with this back and forth where when you love someone, your innate need is to rescue them. But true growth happens when you allow them to grow and watch and provide from afar.
And also, I think it is important to grow uh, in the relationship also. To grow as an individual, being in that relationship also, grow as an individual. Because um, if you don't, I mean, we all do mistakes, we all do things that are not liked by the other person.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to control that, so that the other person is not getting triggered, uh, you know, if you constantly keep repeating the mistakes, then it becomes difficult. If you learn to control that, you know, because I am a certain way, she's a certain way, or whoever there is a husband-wife relationship, these are two individuals. If they are a certain way, they will be a certain way. But if they know that this is where I think I should just start to calm down a bit, or maybe not indulge, then it helps the relationship. But if you let your thing out every time, then there's bound to be conflict.
So we have to learn to manage our own triggers as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Lovely. You've been through a downfall and then you became famous again. How was second time fame different from first time fame?
Not once. I've gone through downs a lot of times.
Yes.
A lot of times. I think uh, at 19, becoming one of the top names in the country,
Yeah.
enjoying that for about 3.5, 4 years. Then again, hitting rock bottom because not knowing where the life is headed. Then again, something picks up and then you're again on top. And then again, there is confusion in life. And then again, the band happens and then you're, in terms of popularity charts, you're like on top everywhere. And people are, tearing their clothes and they're crying and all of that, looking at you, that kind of fame that all the concert stars are seeing now, we had seen back in 2002, 3, 4, 5, uh, uh, we got thrown at by undergarments of, the women have thrown undergarments at us.
Wow.
So that kind of popularity we had already seen that time, So we've seen those ups and then downs and then ups and then downs again. So that has been a part of my life. And I think for every artist, now with social media, everybody thinks what they see on social media is reality, which is not.
Yeah.
You would be putting out stuff which may be completely opposite to what state you are in, right? So for people might think कि अरे यार क्या सुधांशु के ये चल रहा है वो चल रहा है तमाम चीजें चल रही है, but I might be going through hell in my real life,
Yeah.
right? So ups and downs are a part of life and you have to learn to accept them. This is what I said earlier. Nothing remains the same ever, right? I was doing Anupama for 4 years. 4 years, everybody was like Anupama, 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 Vanraj Shah, Vanraj Shah, Vanraj Shah. All of that. And then for last 1 year, I've not picked up any work at all till now. I mean, I've had Traitors that released now on Amazon Prime. That show has done exceedingly well.
It has.
But it is a reality show. It's not an actor's show. So I was not an actor in that. I'm looking at doing something as an actor which can be 2 notches above my last project. So I still haven't picked up anything. So for an actor not to be doing something is also a big thing, So last 1 year I've not picked up anything because nothing is really making me feel that ये मेरे लिए challenging है.
For an actor not to pick up a show is a big thing, but for an actor or a human to also be true to themselves is a big thing. And not compromise your own worth and not compromise your dream and what you're looking for, right? That's authenticity in its true sense. So I'm going to take this moment, this opportunity to draw wisdom out of you, though I already have drawn so much wisdom out of you. I've absolutely loved chatting with you. I've lost
glad.
complete track of time today.
Thank you.
What is the Sudhanshu anchor that you would leave the listener with? Something that they can hold on to when they're struggling.
Belief and hope. Believe in yourself. Believe in something. If you're an atheist, believe in something. Believe in yourself. But that belief will always keep your hope alive. And that hope will always tell you that things are not going to be the same always. It will change for the better. And you will have the opportunity to get the kind of happiness that you're looking for. It could be professional, it could be personal, it could be whatever. But it'll keep your hope alive. So belief and hope, these are the 2 most important things. And take care of yourself, yeah. I mean, take care of your health, take care of your mind, take care of yourself, because that'll help you build the strength from inside. And it'll also send a very positive message to the Almighty that He's giving you this mind and body and you're taking care of it. So at some point in time, He will start blessing you. Keep that in mind.
Wow. Belief and hope.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. My next book is on hope. I
Oh,
think I'm
that's
going to go
beautiful.
add belief into it.
Yeah. Yeah, you must.
It's coming out this
Yeah.
year.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So we have a ritual It's called the self-love ritual,
Okay.
where this card encourages you to do a self-love activity and then pass it on to the next person and encourage them to do a self-love activity.
So do I have to read this?
It's for you. You don't
Okay.
have to read it, but this card encourages you to do something for yourself,
Oh, okay.
a
Okay.
self-love activity.
Okay. So I take this with
You
me.
take it with you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Thank
You
you.
also take home with you a little gift from us. It is for all the cancellation you've experienced and every time that you have crowned yourself.
That also makes me learn that you are so humble to call this a little gift.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sohei. Thank you
so
so much.
much for
Thank you.
being so honest and open.
Thank
Loved
you.
it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.